To me, there's two types of people in the world. The ones that stay cool, calm, and collected, and then there's the ones who don't. After putting some serious thought into it, I've come to the conclusion that the topic of today's video very well may be one of the most important defining factors as to why some people succeed in the market and why some people fail. Picture this. It's Monday morning, it's the start of a new work week, it's the start of a new trading week. You slip on your socks, you eat some breakfast, you plop down at your computer, and the Dow is down 900 points. Stock market is crashing, in dollar figures you've lost thousands of dollars. How do you react? Although the exact same thing is happening to both investors, one sees doom and gloom while the other sees an opportunity. This to me is the difference between a proactive and a reactive investor. So today I've brought a book with me, and it's one titled Extreme Ownership by a guy named Jocko Willink, and the author is an ex-US Navy SEAL. But this book is actually what sparked the motivation for today's video. As I've been progressing through it, he goes on to describe a lot of characteristics if you encountered a Navy SEAL, if you were training to be one for that matter. And as I'm going through this book, I couldn't help but draw a little bit of a comparison to that of a stock market investor. And I know that does sound crazy. I don't mean to ruffle any feathers here and say that this is a same thing, but at the same time, I do see actually a lot of striking similarities. Take for one example, with a Navy SEAL, they are constantly put into situations where they're under a high amount of stress. And in most cases, almost all of them, it's a life or death matter. There's a lot on the line. As an investor, you will come across periods where it's more or less money on the line. You have your nest egg, you have your financial savings on the line. That can cause a lot of stress. Now, in both cases, what that can lead to is a highly emotional situation. And as a Navy SEAL, one of the first things they train you to do, or I guess one of the first things and one of the ongoing things that you're constantly revising on, is honing in this skill to think logically, to factor in everything that's going on, and to make the most calculated, most tactical decision rather than letting your emotions take over, making just a split second. You do have to make split second decisions, but more or less driven by thought, by factoring in logic rather than emotion. When it comes to the stock market, that again is a very, very realistic comparable. And another point, experience, the training and the discipline required to become a SEAL. From basic training to the way they upkeep their body. There's actually a quote that I highlighted. It's not from Jocko, but I think he quotes Greek soldier Archilochus. We do not rise to the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our training. And there's no question that in order to be a Navy SEAL and in order to maintain and upkeep the demands and the requirements, that takes not only hours, not only weeks, but years and years and years of discipline, of training, practice, and preparation beforehand in order for a SEAL to go out and succeed on the battlefield. This to me is just another clear comparison to what it's like being a successful investor. I think that it's very fair to say that as an investor, if you're the type of person that lacks experience, if you're the type of person that thinks emotionally, you tend to panic, you tend to get all jittery, and you're not willing to put in the preparation up front, you will do very poorly. You will crumble. And as an update on what's going on in our world, I mean, just a couple days ago as of filming this one, we saw a 942 point drop in the Dow. We are days away from the presidential election, and there's still a lot of uncertainty as to how that's going to pan out. We have the coronavirus still at large, and to make matters worse, we are in the heart of earnings season. There is no lack of excitement right now in the market. You could argue there's a million things going on, and I am getting all sorts of questions through comments, through DMs. Questions like, well, if such and such wins, how is this sector going to do? Or I'm down on this stock, what should I do? Or is the market going to crash? Do I buy? Do I sell? Do I hold? What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? That, to me, is the mistake if you're asking those questions. Drawing back to our analogy, imagine throwing a completely untrained soldier, someone who's never been through their basic training, they've never held a gun before, you stick them in the middle of a battlefield. Of course they're not going to know what to do. They are going to be clueless. They're going to panic. They're going to be asking those types of questions. What the heck do I do right now? As a basketball fan myself, Another equivalent would be subbing somebody in. There's 5 seconds left in the game. He catches the ball. Dude's never played it before in his life. Of course he's going to mess things up. He was not prepared for this in that case.
George, way off. It's the side of the backboard.
That's where I look to our analogy for the video. We look to someone like a Navy SEAL who doesn't just react blindly. They're proactive. They're prepared for the situation at hand. It's the work that's come in beforehand that allows them to do so well. And in the stock market, a reactive investor is the type of person that is constantly trying to know it all. They're trying to read every article possible and trying to figure out why the market was down today, why Tesla stock was up today. They're really trying to piece everything together so that he or she can get that slight edge. They can kind of outsmart the market. Whereas a proactive investor, this is somebody who kind of lays back. They kind of understand that there's a million moving pieces out there and there's not one factor that's jolting the market this way or there's one answer all the time. It's often a combination of both. A proactive investor to me is someone that steps back and they focus on the things that they can control. Some examples that pop to mind, if you are someone that's looking to be more proactive as an investor, number one, revisit your strategy. Or unfortunately, I hate to say it, for a lot of people out there, set a strategy in the first place. Can you imagine an operation with the Navy SEALs where they went into the battlegrounds, they went into the war zone with no plan, no structure, no plan B, no leadership. They just kind of went out there and just started firing bullets left, right, and center. Probably wouldn't work out so well. Yet when it comes to the stock market, all the time people will just jump in. No set strategy, no targets, no allocations or percentage weightings that they're aiming for. They'll just buy stocks that come their way. And of course, when markets head south, if you don't have that baseline, if you don't have that guidelines or targets to aim for, you are going to feel a little bit lost. You're going to be far more inclined in this case to make an emotionally based decision. One of the first videos that I've ever done on the channel, like literally over 2 years ago, was a video on asset allocation. If you haven't seen that or you're not familiar with this, go watch the video and go revisit a strategy, revisit a plan, go set some targets as to where you're going to allocate your assets. Another point right now, especially given the current state of our market, everything that we're going through, a major way to plan ahead is to keep some cash aside. Keep some cash liquid in your portfolio so if the markets do sell off, which is not only possible, but maybe probable with, again, everything that's going on, you are now ready. You're in a position to look at those sell-offs as opportunities versus somebody who's just invested all their money. Again, they feel strapped. They feel like they're hopeless. They can't really do anything. Prepare for this by having some cash set aside. Maybe even look into something like profit taking. If you got stocks that have done super well since March and you're seeing double-digit, triple-digit gains, like a lot of us are in some of our holdings, be smart about it. Maybe take some off the table, maybe redeploy those, maybe keep some of those earnings as cash rather than just letting your investments run, knowing that, there are people that argue if you look at certain ratios, like take the Schiller PE, that our market is just broadly overvalued. These are all things that you need to factor in. Lastly, a point that I think is of crucial importance, this always is the case, always work on educating yourself. Always look to learn more. Always get better at managing your emotions. These all tie in together. As an investor, the more that you understand about the market, the more that you understand about volatility, and let's say, for example, you're looking into market crashes or corrections, when you look at the statistics and you understand that every 7 to 8 years, every 7 to 9 years on average, I believe it is, the stock market crashes, which is defined as a drop of about 40%. It depends who you're talking to, 20% or more. That's a market crash. Every 11 to 13 months, you see a correction, which is a drop of over 10% or more. If you realize that these are normal occurrences, if this is something that you go out and learn, then you'll approach them very, very differently. In fact, knowing that they're regular occurrences, you should now actually be inviting these dips, inviting these corrections as opportunities to buy, rather than, again, being so caught up in the moment, all of your cash in the market, you don't take the time to go educate yourself, and now you panic when the markets go down. Take a step back. That's all part of the preparation phase. Actually, from the TD webinar that just took place a couple weeks ago, which I know a lot of you guys tuned in for, so it was great to see you guys there and ask questions or answer your questions. I really, really, really enjoyed that. One of the questions they asked me was, is it good to ignore your emotions or something along the lines of that. You never want to ignore your emotions, but if you can learn how to handle them, learn how to acknowledge them, recognize what emotions you're feeling, and then make the appropriate decisions, that to me is all part of being a good investor. And again, to tie things all together, maybe you can leave a comment down below whether you agree. Is that in a way comparable to a Navy SEAL, or am I just out of my mind? Maybe I'm stretching at this point, but hey, as I was reading it, I saw a lot of comparables, and really the main takeaway is that if you want to be successful in the market, it's about doing the things beforehand. It's about being proactive. It's about setting yourself up the right way so that when things happen, you then don't have to start making all these decisions. You've done that now. And again, it starts by revisiting your strategy, having a good portfolio built, investing in good quality companies, all the stuff that we preach on this channel. That's being a proactive investor rather than a reactive investor. That's really all that I wanted to talk about in today's video. Again, it is a very simple topic, but in my opinion, a very, very powerful one. And as I mentioned from the top, it may be one of the single most defining factors as to people that do well in the stock market versus people who don't. But hey, you can let me know in the comments section below whether you agree, whether you disagree. If you did enjoy this video, feel free to drop a quick thumbs up. That really does help out. Subscribe for more content and make sure you hit that bell for notifications. If you're new to the stock market, if you're new to the channel for that matter, you are not familiar with our Investing Academy, we do offer courses, training. It's all for Canadians, all for beginners, and you can literally go step by step from knowing nothing to having a great fundamentally sound portfolio built with all of your allocations in check, all of the best funds, all of the best stocks. That's that first link down below. But as always, I thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.